Manchester United tax is back, everybody. Oh, has it ever left? Any time Manchester United show interest in any player, the price is hiked up to ridiculous numbers. Going to go into the Elliot Anderson price tag and everything that we touched on last night as the news broke in a little bit more detail this morning, because Manchester United here, I think, are the ones that have triggered this price and this valuation on Elliot Anderson. I'm going to explain what I mean by that as well and get your thoughts on this in the live show this morning. And of course, if you are catching up later on, please make sure that you do get your comments into the comments section. Give the video a like while you're at it as well if you're enjoying the content, and please make sure you hit that subscribe button also. So let's get into what is actually going on with Elliot Anderson, why this price has been brought up last night by Sky and Sky Germany, Florian Plettenberg. We know where the source came from. Of course, I'm going to bring you the other news as well around Manchester United, and an interesting report from Spain about Conor Gallagher as well this morning. Look, it's crazy season and it's not. It is the build-up to crazy season. We're not even there yet, and everything is going, well, crazy. You could say that. But this is what happens when people get wind of clubs, or clubs get wind of other clubs wanting certain players from their club in particular. They obviously look at what value that player is. They would start to then do their research to see if that player leaves, who have we got in our squad, and then who could we possibly bring in. This is Brighton's model. They have players in that they bring in for cheap. They run them for 3 years in their football club with a younger player waiting to come through in the wings, having gained around about 18 months to 2 years experience at the level below, i.e. 21s, or on loan somewhere else, just to bring them in then to the first team action. That's Brighton's model. Nottingham Forest, different ball game. Mazarakis, as we know, he's a loose cannon, and anything can happen with that guy running a football club. And he has obviously got wind of Manchester United's interest. I explained last night on my point on this, and it was just snap reaction to the news coming out because it was live, so I didn't research anything at all, didn't look into it into detail, but I have done a little bit more looking into this and where this is actually at as a deal. And if you think back to, I think it was around about 10 days ago, we did a report here on Forever United TV that came out from Indy Cali, which was around the interest in Manchester United touching base with Elliot Anderson. The quote came out of that was, Elliot Anderson's head has been turned. The only reason Elliot Anderson is 100 million is because Forest know that Manchester United are interested in him. Now, you can say that we don't know that. You can say that these reports are just reports. And Adam, there's no way that you could tell if Manchester United were interested in Elliot Anderson. Look, we're interested in midfielders. We look at the structure that's in place right now. Look at the blueprint that we are using. Proven players in the Premier League with experience, and they're going all out for them. It's worked so far this season. There is nothing to tell us that Ineos will not do the same thing again this summer. They are not going to go out into Europe, into South America, and buy somebody for more than 60 to 70 million quid if they haven't got Premier League experience. That's not going to happen. You could easily say, well, Adam, we did this with Benjamin Sesko. Fair. But with Benjamin Sesko also, you have a track record of heavy recruitment and scouting on this player that Manchester United have been doing for several years now, alongside the Christopher Vivell situation also. Plus, the fact that you're bringing two experienced forwards in and around him who can always help him as well. There was a different approach. So I'm not saying United are not going to go out into Europe and spend big because they've not played in the Premier League. I'm saying Manchester United are surrounding these other players in them areas and them positions with experience and knowledge and know-how of the Premier League. And that was the approach with the forward line. I could see this again. Now, you could even say Orozco, for instance, the 17-year-old who's turning 18 this summer, who's coming in from Colombia, could be the other central midfielder that United bring in. But we could be bringing in a Yarmouk from Brentford, for instance. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just using it as an example right now. Angelo Stiller could be another player that comes in. Not much experience. Again, and I know Yarmouk is playing in the Premier League. I'm just using it as a cheaper example. United will be buying a big midfielder. We know this. They are going to go and splash the cash. It depends how much they do spend on a player. But United would still be interested in Elliot Anderson, even if he is £100 million. The problem you've got is obviously, and United would have prepared for this as well. We've seen this. We gave you the full report the other day on Brian Mbeumo. 80 million quid Brentford were asking Manchester United for Brian Mbeumo. 80 million for Mbeumo. Now, that alone you would say makes complete sense because you're buying the proven product. And this is why Manchester United will always still be interested in Elliot Anderson. This is the price that's been put up there to be knocked down. It's as simple as that. And I don't think anyone is going to go and spend £100 million on Elliot Anderson. For instance, Newcastle cannot afford £100 million spend on Elliot Anderson. They cannot do that in their financial situation at the moment. And I feel Nottingham Forest are preparing themselves here for what is coming in the summer. If Manchester United have touched base, and this, again, there is a big part of this, which is all influenced by where Manchester United finish this season. If we do finish in European places, Elliot Anderson is 100% on Manchester United's radar. United can afford him, and United will go for Elliot Anderson. I think contacts have already been made, and we can just look at that and say that that's happened just from the reports that are going around. But Manchester United, anyway, are always after the best players, and Elliot Anderson at the moment is one of the best central midfielders in the Premier League, and that's just on paper. And you look at his performances, I mean, I did make a case last night in a way to say that he's part of a team that's stuck in the relegation zone right now, out of the Carabao Cup at the first attempt. And so you could say that Elliot Anderson isn't that good. I mean, his market value at the moment is 40 million quid. Mazarakis knows what's coming. This is the reason why this price has been leaked out. He's thinking something might actually happen in January, potentially here. You wouldn't get him coming out or a price being leaked out to Sky Germany, of all places, if there wasn't hope that, well, not so much hope, but in preparation for a transfer window coming up. Now, I'm not saying that Elliot Anderson is going to be sold in January either. I don't think he will, and I've said this many a times before. But he's putting that price out there, ready in the club, and ready in anyone coming into bid that this is where it's going to be. You are not going to be able to negotiate with Mazarakis over a deal. You're going to have to prepare yourself to pay big money. I could see Manchester United in some way making a make-weight offer here with another player potentially for Elliot Anderson if they go in for him. Look, it's all way down the line. And we shouldn't even be talking about this that much, but the point of the video is, and the point of the story is really, that because Manchester United have made contact, Forest will know that United are interested. The price has already been put out there. They've already put that marker out there. It's like Brighton. They're not saying anything, but they're leaking little bits out here and there about Carlos Baleba. And Nottingham Forest are just following suit. They're just going off what Brighton have done and putting the price stupidly high, ready for what is to come. And what is coming is Manchester United probably going in for him, along with other Premier League clubs as well. Because Nottingham Forest, as it is at the moment, have to go a hell of a long way to get back into European football. They're not going to have as much money, obviously, and they need to start selling probably some assets to try and survive. Now, I think Forest will survive. Their squad is way too good to go down. We proved that last season. They're struggling with European football and Premier League football and balancing both of these out. We can all see that, and that is a proven thing in the Premier League. Newcastle have done it, United obviously as well, Spurs last season, Forest this season. It's very difficult to balance both out unless you've got a big squad, and I think Forest are just looking ahead to the summer, and they're looking at this and going, well, we might not be in European football again, we might not have the money, the gate receipts, the funds, the prize money coming in from Europe, and we will obviously have to sell players as well to reinvest back into the squad. And I just think it is in full preparation. I mean, you look at the price. It is because of Manchester United. It is fully because of Manchester United that this price is what it is. I don't care what anybody else says. If United weren't in for him, you would see more sensible prices being thrown around. But all of the reports are around Manchester United touching base, and Nottingham Forest know this. They know that United would be interested in Elliot Anderson. We had the debate last night. We talked last night about whether we thought Elliot Anderson was worth 100 million. And I think the general chat's coming in, and I asked everybody in the show when this news broke, how much would you pay? How much is Elliot Anderson worth? And the general mark was about 50 to 70 max. Don't think anybody went above 80 million. Now, I think that is probably round about where he is right now, and I think that's probably a fair valuation for Elliot Anderson. And I've said this before. How can a player bump his value up near 70 million in one season? Not one player on the planet is worth that amount of money or jumps that far. I think Forest paid Newcastle around about 30 to 34 million, around that mark. And now he's worth 100 million? No, he's not. No player earns that amount of money on his price tag, on his transfer fee in one season of football. You'd have to have an absolute blinder of a season. And Elliot Anderson had a good season. He did, but he's not worth 70 million more than what Newcastle let him go for. That's a definite. I think this price will come down is what I'm saying. But at the moment, we're looking at this and we're saying that Elliot Anderson, Nottingham Forest, we are looking here officially at the start of everything that is to come. I don't think anything's going to happen in January. I would be absolutely flabbergasted. I'd be absolutely shocked if anything did come about in January. But Manchester United won't be put off by the 100 million price tag. They'll have an idea of what they think they can get Anderson for come the summer, and I think it will be well, not a lot less, but I think it'll definitely be in and around the 70 to 80 million mark. I think United would even go in as stupidly as low as like 60 to 70 million. And a lot of people would say that he would be worth that, and that's the right price. But look, I think the mark has just been put down because of the interest, and I think the inevitable is coming. The reports that have come out and what we've spoken about, I think, are there for everybody to see, and I think it's Manchester United just fully preparing. And look, transfers are transfers. We're in the middle of the season. It doesn't really matter. All you've got to look at here is the work going on off the pitch already by Manchester United in preparation for the future. And this is what big clubs do. If you listen to transfer experts, you listen to owners and former owners of football clubs talking on podcasts and things like this, and they talk about transfer windows, deadline days and things like this, it always comes about in January and obviously the summer months in a transfer window while it's open. But listen to what they say, and they say if you are one of the bigger clubs, then you're already preparing 6 months before the transfer window opens and getting deals done. It takes that long to make a big transfer happen. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of understanding of certain situations, clauses, everything. They are that complex these days. You're already compiling a list. You're already speaking to agents and you're already saying, this is what is going to happen in the summer. This is our plan. If you listen to anyone who says this, I'm not acting like I'm a guru here or I know. I just listen to what these people say, and people who work at the football club, CEOs, chairmen, directors of football, they're always on shows and podcasts, and I listen to a lot of these shows and a lot of what they say, and it is full preparation. This did not happen before at Manchester United. It just was not there. And yeah, we can talk about transfers and the excitement of players coming in, and you can say, well, it's not even worth talking about right now because it's nowhere near the transfer window opening. This is what proper football clubs do. They prepare and they get everything in place ready to go. Ryan Mbeumo was done months ago. We heard about Matthias Cunha. We caught wind of that. That was like a year in the making for Matthias Cunha to Manchester United. The people at this football club now and the people running it have a complete grip on what is necessary and what's needed. And the structure that came in and was implemented last summer, and we were all laughing, weren't we? When Omar Barada came out with that comment on MUTV when we was doing our post-Asia tour. We have a plan. We have set boundaries. We know what was going to happen if we won the Europa League. We know what was going to happen if we didn't win the Europa League. And we're going to implement that plan now into the summer. And then we made 4 very, very substantial signings which have transformed Manchester United in such a way that we are now looking at Europe after just 9 games. That's the confidence that's in. We've had a bit of a bumpy road, but they were fully willing to back Ruben Amorim alongside all of their plan that they put in place. And that plan included Ruben Amorim no matter what happened, according to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said anyway. And who are we to go against the horse's mouth himself? He's the owner of this football club, and he has come out in our worst time and said that Amorim is going absolutely nowhere. The point of it all is Manchester United now have a transfer structure and a management team in place that know what they're doing, are prepared for what is coming, i.e. the 100 million price tag on Elliot Anderson, and what's to come in the summer. The preparation is already starting. And Manchester United are just putting things in place, ready to go and ready to hit when that transfer window opens. And just being ready. Like, remember what Sir Alex Ferguson always used to say? United were always prepared and ready for when the best players became available. And if something happens, United will be ready. Someone actually asked a question to me in the chat the other day, and I remember it well. And it always reminded me of like times that Sir Alex Ferguson did things at Manchester United that weren't probably expected. It's like we bought in Shinji Kagawa, and his career was pretty much blown away by United all of a sudden going out and buying Robin Van Persie. Because Van Persie became available, United went and got him. And the whole structure and the whole plan for the window went out. It went out of that very window as well at the same time. And that's where United are at. And someone asked me the question the other day, would you put a bid in for Mark Gahey? And I went, yeah, I would. I would prepare a bid for Mark Gahey. If United could get Mark Gahey for free, I would be putting a contract on the table today for Mark Gahey. And I know we don't necessarily really need centre-backs at the moment, but this is the decision that you would make, I feel, over someone like Harry Maguire. And I don't want to just completely blow Harry Maguire out here and just say that he isn't worth it. I love what Harry Maguire has done. And I think he has been really a top pro for Manchester United. With everything that happened, the bad times that he was going through, I just think that Harry Maguire deserves a lot of credit for what he did. But these are the big decisions that need to be made. If Mark Gahey's a free and he's available, and Manchester United get wind that there might be an opportunity, then you go and get Mark Gahey and you put a contract on the table for what? Between 150 and 200 grand a week. You put that right down right now. You cannot miss out on opportunities like that. I know there's other teams in for him, Bayern, obviously Liverpool and things like that. But again, that brings in the Manchester United season here. Our transfer window transformed completely if we're in Europe next season. If we get in the Champions League, then hold on to your hats. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm hoping that would happen. But if United somehow miraculously managed to get that done and get into the Champions League, then wow, Manchester United would be flying. But yeah, this is what the structure does. This is what being ready to go is. And in transfers like this, Manchester United will already know. They would have already touched base, I think, even with Crystal Palace and Mark Gahey, find out the situation. Let's not forget, Jean-Philippe Mateta has not signed his new deal yet at Crystal Palace. And he can go off abroad in January and already agree deals to go elsewhere. You've got to be ready to move for all of the players. Nottingham Forest know what's coming and they're preparing a price for Elliot Anderson to protect themselves. These are the motions, these are the motions that happen, and these are the things that now start to develop from this point. And transfers can take over a year to make happen. And I feel like that's what's going on here right now. And I actually truly believe, and you could say I'm a little bit red-tinted here in terms of my approach and how I look at this, but I actually believe that Elliot Anderson's price is that, and that has been reported and leaked out because Man United are actually interested in him. That's what I think is happening right now. And I am a firm believer that because we are in it, teams are going to try and take advantage of that. So, yeah, you've just always got to be ready for transfers. And I just think it's the noises that are coming out and everything that's going on, I think are because of what happens in transfer windows and dealings and how the transfers are actually done over time. And people just think it's just like that. And a lot of the time it's like, just go out and get this player. Go make that transfer happen like that. So you should be doing. Manchester United might have already been preparing for this for a year in advance. Liverpool are exactly the same. Manchester City. They don't just knee-jerk. And I'm not bringing that phrase up just because Sir Jim Ratcliffe brought it up the other day. But if you speak to many and you listen, like I said, I don't know these people. I just listen to what they say. And they all go down the same road. They all say exactly the same thing. And these are people that work at football clubs at the highest level. And they have been on podcasts and talks about how transfers work. And this is how they work. And you have to be fully prepared. And it takes years, not months, probably years to prepare transfer structures. They may see an academy player coming through and think in this amount of time, this player's contract is going to be at an end. There's so much to bring in. And the reason I'm bringing up all of this extra information on top of just Elliot Anderson's price tag being released is because this is how it works. This is how it's broken down. And I think we are ready to go. I do. I think that Elliot Anderson is a top target for Manchester United. Look, I could be wrong, and there's someone you could all laugh at me. But I just look at all of the minor little details and everything that's going on. And I believe that something is actually brewing with this transfer. And if it doesn't happen, then it won't be through Manchester United fully preparing and doing every single bit of groundwork and homework they possibly can and research and recruitment. And I just, again, I'm blowing smoke up the arse of a transfer structure that's in place at Manchester United now. And you can all get bored of it if you want. And I'll say, here we go again, here's Adam and Ineos. But look at what's happened this season. Look at the players and how they've transformed our team, and now how everyone is talking about it. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Let's get into the chat on all of this, and let's see what you're thinking, everybody. Get in, please, into the comments section. Wait until Forest are relegated. Simple as that. Forest won't be relegated, Ant. I know what you're saying there, mate. Cheers for the super chat, mate, but they won't get relegated. They are too good to go down, and Sean Dyche won't allow Forest to go down. Anderson is on the radar, but you'd get 2 times a box-to-box 8s for 60 million outside of the EPL. The good ones apart. I'd take Anderson for 50. I disagree, Manny. I'm sorry, mate. You've got to pay strong money to get the best. And again, this window has proven above anything else, which is why I put that bit of extra information in. It's like Cunha and Mbeumo have transformed Manchester United's attack. And that's the reason why we are only 2 goals behind Manchester City in the league this season. You could have only dreamt of that during the start of the season. Proven players. I'm sorry. That is where United are right now. Manny is right. In the future, we will be able to do things like this. But at the moment where we are, and with the catch-up that we have got on our hands, and what we've got to do to make ground on everybody else, you have to get the right players. And the recruitment is, I reckon, a 70-30, 70 being proven and knowledgeable on the Premier League over the 30 of all the other filler transfers that could possibly come in. I think that's where we're at. I'm not disregarding that comment from Manny at all. He's right there. You can get better value abroad. But we tried this. It's not worked. And it's the first time that we really do go into a transfer window with a full-on plan of bringing in ready-made players who know the Premier League, who don't take... And all I'm hearing is opposition pundits, fans talking about United's transfer activity now. And like how Mbeumo and Cunha have just took to the ground. They've just set off like a steam train because they know the Premier League. You're not waiting around for players to find their feet. And United haven't got time for that. If we were going to make a move from 15th to European places, the transfer window we just had to happen. And that transfer window has to happen again. And probably another one on top of that. Before we even get to going out for players that have got, that are understudies or are not really household names and have got Premier League experience, I reckon we need another window like we just had in the summer with proven players, knowledgeable players. And that's why we're talking about Anderson, Baleba, Wharton, as far down as Yarmouk and players like this and Conor Gallagher. Another window like that, just to, boom, catch up to the rest. Then you've got to compete and you've got to stay there then. And then maybe, with the age of these players that we brought in, the experience that they have got also, we can then go out and find them gems abroad. Go out into Europe, South America, Africa, over to Australia and Asia, and wherever these players are, like we are doing right now. I think United are testing the waters with the academy players. Because we brought players in from Australia, from Africa, from South America. We have covered the globe in terms of academy players and players being brought into our academy. I think we're testing the waters there. And Manchester United might be able to do more with this later on down the line, but we still need the proven players first. And if Mark Gahey's on a free, if Mateta's on a free, and we can get them players in the summer, I'm buying both of them players right now. You cannot ignore that. And then you go out and buy your midfielders. Effectively, you could look at a transfer window opening up where you could get Gahey and Mateta for nothing. And I know it's a long shot, trust me. But everybody's looking at this right now. And his deal's already on the table. This is why these players are not signing new contracts. There's already offers and they know, and their agents will know, that there are big deals to be made there. And their agents will be making a fortune off these players. Let's not forget sign-on fees because of a free transfer. And all of this. You could get Mateta, you could get Gahey, you could then go out and spend 100 to 200 million on 2 midfielders and have 4 proven players in your side. These are the potential. You go out of your way to make other deals happen. And I tell you, I say this every single year, but the summer transfer window, with what is becoming available on the free market and players that we know are definitely going to leave for big money, it is going to be an absolute, it's going to be a whirlwind. It is. But United are already doing work behind the scenes on this, I feel, as well. Sean with a super chat says, I think we are heading back to the stage where players want to come to United rather than just seeing us as a payday. I'm liking what is happening. Look, Ineos, like we said before, we haven't got one player above 200 grand a week now. on any of the players that they've brought in, and they've brought a full team in so far. They've brought players in positions in every single position so far, Ineos, since they've been in. We brought centre-backs, we brought wing-backs, we brought central midfielders, we brought strikers, we brought 10s, we brought goalkeepers. We brought a whole team under Ineos. And not one of them players is on more than 200 grand a week wages. Not one. And that, I think, is what's encouraging going forward. These players want to be at United. And don't count out the impact that Ruben Amorim has also had on them players signing for United. The whole story, and this is what was paining me when some people think I was actually trying to get Ruben Amorim out, all of them numpties. If you watch the shows back, this is what it was paining me, actually saying that Ruben's going to get sacked. You cannot ignore results in football, and results will determine what always happens, and that's what I was saying. But the conversations that we were hearing about in the summer about Cunha believing in what Ruben said, and Bumo, Sesko, when Ruben spoke to him on the phone for an hour about Arsenal and the breakdown and how he was so invested into what Ruben was saying, and it was the fact and the thought of all of that going out of the window, which was paining me so much. It was like there was so much effort that went into that transfer window that it had to work, and I could not fathom or understand why it wasn't working. And honestly, it was blowing my mind. I was just like, they did everything right. The transfer window was excellent for Manchester United, and you all know I was bigging it up through the summer. And now, thank God, these players have started. And thank God Ruben took the advice from everybody in the world and changed, because he did change. He adapted that formation. He allowed the players to figure out the formation without trying to do too much and be too complex with it. The directness and being able to be in certain positions without having to pass your way through to that position because we went long. The centre-back stepping forward and having the bravery to do so because the ball was in the other half of the pitch. All of this, all of these little tweaks that people do not pick up on, I think Ruben did change. I think Manchester United's structure is bang on. I think we have got a bright future ahead of us. And like Sean said in the super chat there, this is Manchester United now turning a corner, and the age of players coming in for a payday are gone. And even the likes of Manny, when he said in his super chat there, like, he's bang on the money. Manchester United can get so much more in players going abroad and finding them at different prices. But we've got so much more catching up to do that we are going to have a bigger outlay. But I tell you what, if I spent 200 million on a strike force that has got me right up there in the leading goal scorers this season and level on points with the teams in the top four at the moment, I would spend 200 more than 100 million of unknown to be wondering where we would be in the league right now. That has proven. Spend the right money on the right players, and that's the important bit, because you've got to make sure it's perfect. If you get that right, you're on the road to success instantly. Having another transfer window for Manchester United like we did last summer, this summer coming, and United are comfortably in the top four next season. And I mean comfortably. Not challenging for the title. We're not there. I said that yesterday. I reckon we need another 2 windows like we had last summer, the next 2 coming up, and United will comfortably be in that top 4. I guarantee it. That's my prediction anyway. But I think it's proven this summer. And you look at what Chelsea have done in their recruitment, certain players that they've brought in from abroad, and players that just aren't doing it, like your Gittins, your Hattos, who else came in for Chelsea? My God, one of a million bleeding players, it would seem. I know they brought in a few Premier League players, but they were all Premier League players, apart from João Pedro, that I thought weren't really proven. Garnacho's not proven. I don't think Delap's proven. Good season and the right price, which is why Chelsea got him. But the other players that they brought in, and I heard someone talking yesterday about Xavi Simons adapting to the Premier League, and I know it's going well for Spurs right now, but it's easier when you've got players that know what's coming, and if they're available, Manchester United always have to be there, and they always have to be in the race to get them players, and that's what I mean. If Mateta and Gehi are free, I would be devastated if United weren't in the equation. If they weren't in the equation, I would think that we are not doing our job properly. I think we are. Mateta on a free would be an amazing signing. He's miles better than Sesko right now. I like the way that you put right now in there, mate, because Sesko is definitely doing bits for Manchester United. And I know this because other opposition supporters are also talking about Sesko right now. His influence in that game, and I'm not saying that it's because I was at the game I've seen more, But some of the stuff that he was doing off the ball was causing all sorts of problems for Brighton in that game. I think he should have scored that chance in the first half from a brilliant move from Manchester United. He lashed at it and it went over the top. You know, the one that he hit with his left foot that went into the stand. His assist for the goal was brilliant. The way he turned inside, the chop inside was great. He has got great feet. He was causing all sorts. But I'm really impressed with Benjamin Sesko at the moment. I think he's getting better and better and better. And I think he has to play against Nottingham Forest, by the way, because I think the low block, Manchester United might have to throw a few crosses into the box. And to have a 6'6" striker in there who can get his head on them, he has to play against Nottingham Forest this weekend for that low block reason. Because United may have to adapt their game again. Because we're going to have the ball against Forest. That is a definite. And we are going to have to make sure that we are as clinical as we was at weekend when we get them chances. Right, I've neglected everybody in the chat. I do apologise. I'm going to let you have your say now on all of this. There is so much debate going on in there. And I'm loving it. It seems positive, but it seems also constructive in the argument as well. So that, I think, shows you exactly where Manchester United are at. Just Sean's comment there about times are changing and liking the way that the club is going. Positive, positive, positive. That's what we need. Brief visits this week someone else's private conversation there. Buying foreign players doesn't work for us as we always expect them to hit the ground running and don't get time to settle. You need a settled time that allows them players coming in from abroad to find their feet. Hence why I said Cunha and Bumo around Sesko has given that guy a little bit more leeway and he's taken advantage of it. Now, obviously, three goal involvements in 3 games, 2 goals and an assist, and could have had more, and he's creating more problems and chances for United. It's working. It is working so well. And then you've got the option of putting Cunha up front when needed and bringing Mount in. Maybe Xerxes will come in somewhere along them lines. Obviously, we covered the show last night about Xerxes actually being blocked from moving away in January by Manchester United. Maybe there is a plan behind the scenes, and he does come in. Neves, Gallagher, Semenyo are gettable in January. Neves, you would have to spend money on him, and he's free the next summer. I don't know if United would do it, and you can't obviously loan him at that point either. I don't think El Halal will loan Ruben Neves anyway. But there is a story going around on Conor Gallagher as well from Spain. I don't believe it. I think Manchester United would be open for a loan for Conor Gallagher, but there are reports in Spain saying that Manchester United are willing to put a £50 million bid in for Conor Gallagher. Don't believe it. I don't. I think United are in for Conor Gallagher, but definitely not willing to spend £50 million on him. They're not going to spend any money in January that could be spent on a massive target in the summer. They're not going to do it. And I do think that we are, I feel right now, prioritising the likes of Anderson, which is why we're talking about them rather than players we could be bringing in January. The bigger picture, the bigger plan, what's necessary to get the right players for Manchester United. And why I said that we need to have another summer like we did the summer just gone for the next 2. It needs to be the right players. Neves is the obvious target, and for Adam Prem-Proven, he is Prem-Proven, he is, and he could come in. Conor Gallagher, I think, is more of an obvious target for Manchester United. I think United would want him ahead of Ruben Neves. I'm pretty certain. I think because Conor Gallagher can be got on loan, or I think the idea of him coming in would be a loan. I think that appeals to Manchester United more. Rather than waiting for Neves, because, I mean, Neves could come in the summer for free. He's late 20s now. Look, the jury's still out. People might not like Neves because he bolted over to take the money in Saudi Arabia. Look, you can't take away what the guy's got quality-wise. He's a very, very good player. But I think there will be a lot more Man United fans banging the drum for Conor Gallagher than they would Ruben Neves. Just my opinion on this. The Premier League certainly helps when we are recruiting players, but they can be found without experience of the league. Out of the league, is that I'm supposed to say? Mental toughness, ability and attitude. Bruno De Ligt, Lamens, Martinez, through proper scouting. Yes, indeed, Mr. Dacia Sandero. They can. And I think we do need to remember that as well. And I'm not saying that, that Manchester United haven't found players that from outside of the Premier League that are not good enough. that aren't good enough. Sorry, I mean United have like just there alone in that chat. Like you look at them players. I think De Ligt was an obvious one. Experience at high level in a few different leagues. Obviously Germany, Italy, and Holland. Mazraoui pretty much the same. Experienced players, and you got them for really good prices. And I think them two been brilliant signings for Manchester United again. I think what Manchester United needed in a certain area of the pitch, they needed quality. And up front, 200 million on a completely different strike force was exactly what was necessary. And I think that's what we got. And I think that was the difference so far. And midfield, I feel, needs to be exactly the same. I think we've got enough of a blend of experience and Premier League experience at the back now, in that back line, to introduce any new player into it, like a Heaven, a Yoro, for instance. I mean, you've got Shaw there. You've got Maguire there who's got experience. Let's not forget, even though Leach has been out for a while, he's been in the club for 3 years now. So you can say he's got 3 years experience. So he's an experienced Premier League centre-back. So that's, again, you've got to remember also. Excuse me. Let's get a few more super chats in. Ant says, if we want Mateta and Gehi, start the deals now. This is what I've been talking about, Ant, all the way through the show, mate. United are already working on things like this, and they would have been. And I'd be shocked if we weren't, to be honest. One thing we need to think about is squad depth if we make European competitions in 2026, which is why I think if we do make Europe, United might, at cheaper deals, keep both Casemiro and Harry Maguire. Would not be surprised whatsoever. I think Casemiro will go. The importance of him right now is being highlighted, but it's not always going to be that vital to have Casemiro. Right now, we're going through a purple patch with him, and his influence is massive. I think Manchester United wouldn't mind having both Maguire and Casemiro in the squad if we're having to play 2 games a week, though. That, I think, is something to remember. And Manny's right, again, you do need squad depth, especially if we're in Europe next season. Not so much this season, which is how and why Ruben Amorim is struggling with the likes of Xerxes and Kobbie Mainoo around there. Their sort of participation in Manchester United's matchday squads is difficult to balance at the moment because we haven't got enough games. Ross in with a super chat as well. Thank you, Mater. You heard anything about Vitek being the backup next year, or are they leaning towards letting him go after the loan is up? Now, all I know about Vitek is he is very, very, very well regarded, highly regarded within Manchester United and Carrington. He is a player of the future. If an opportunity came around where they could make absolute Brewsters on him, I think they would take that opportunity, of course, because that, again, is 100% profit for Manchester United. And PSR would be absolutely smashed with that, alongside the likes of Greenwood, Ceylon and Rashford this summer, which are expected. So, again, like it is going to be an interesting one what happens with Vitek, because he could be squad depth. You could sell Bayende, and Vitek's wages would be minimal at Manchester United as well. So I balanced this out the other day, and when asked about Vitek, I looked at it and went, well, would Manchester United go out and spend more on a new goalkeeper if Vitek was sold than it would be in selling Vitek? By that I mean you could sell Vitek for 20 million, or maybe 10 million, whatever his value is, and you still have to go out and spend 20 million on another goalkeeper just as good as him. So, yeah, it's great getting 10 to 15 million for Vitek and putting it onto 100% profit, but you're still going to go out and spend more than that on another goalkeeper. You know what I mean? Unless they bring another academy lad through, because I can see Bayende going. He wants to play football, so he'll be sold. I think Man United will keep Vitek, is the answer to the question, and I think it is more cost-effective for them to do so as well. And so, yeah, that's how I see things happening. And you can feel the mood. You can feel the mood changing. And there are people around Manchester United now, and there are pundits all talking about Manchester United and what's happening. And it just feels like there is a bit of a change. Paul Merson saying United, they had back-to-back wins, and I was still concerned about about this Brighton game. I thought it was a real banana skin for them. It's still early days, but that win tells me they are slowly building some momentum. people who were all in on Manchester United and concerned. Look, I'm not saying we weren't either. I was. And I couldn't see the next win coming. And I said that. But people from the outside are watching that game. And the Brighton game was a massive momentum shift, I think, in media opinion and pundit opinion around Manchester United. It was. Everybody's talking about what's happened at Manchester United over these last few games now and how and where 3 wins in a row have come from and propelled Manchester United right back up into the top of the table, right up to the top, into European places, in fact. So I think there is a momentum shift. A win against Forest, then you're really talking. That is 4 wins in a row in the league and 2 wins in a row away from home. I'd have to go way back to try and remember the last time that happened. And some stato will bring that up, actually, and tell us. But that would be something. Still at our human, better affordable options, but are they the better players? Is it better affordable or better players? What do you want? I'm not bothered about what money is spent on a player as long as that player is the right player and the best that you can get. If I have to spend 80 to 90 million on Elliot Anderson over a 50 million to 60 million Angelo Stiller, I'm spending 30 million more and taking Elliot Anderson all day, every day, and twice on a Sunday. Not that that really matters, but that's just how I feel now after watching what I've seen. Like, he's just going to come in and slot in. And I'm not saying that Angelo Stiller can't do that. He looks like a really good player. But I'm still taking Prem Proven. All day, every single day at the moment. That's how I see it anyway. And look, again, I always say this, don't I? But you're not wrong with your opinions. It might work. But might to definite, I'm taking definite all day long. Because definite has been proven this season so far. And yeah, look, there's a long way to go. But you can only judge on what you've seen so far. And if we're planning on the rest of this season, and we're planning on going into the next summer transfer window off the back of what we've seen so far, I don't see Cunha and Mbeumo dropping off like other players that Manchester United did in the past. I just don't see it. They just don't have it in their character. They're born winners, them two, and they're proving it right now. I mean, Mbeumo's already on 5 goals this season. I mean, he's already doing what he did last season for Brentford. Just carried on. Now Cunha's underway. He's off the mark as well. Obviously, we've still got Benjamin Sesko. Them three have had a huge impact on Manchester United this season. Massive impact on what's happened. So, yeah, I would pay more is the answer to that. United must get the scouting department right. They must work hard and more detailed recruiting a player. Focus more on suitability, characteristics, physicality and mentality. Prem Proven. A myth. No, it's not a myth though, is it, Rob? Because we've just bought 2 players in that are showing that they are the difference. We scouted Benjamin Sesko. I'm not saying that don't go out and buy players who have not got Premier League proven. I said that before. Benjamin Sesko, Senna Lamens, the other 2 signings that Manchester United have made this summer are proving to be just as effective as Mbeumo and Cunha. But if you mix them, I'm just like, people are saying, and what I don't, let's just get this clear. I'm not saying that Manchester United go out and buy all Premier League proven players. And I think people are saying, look, you can get so much more value away from the Premier League. Yes, you can. That's proven. But you get what you pay for. And the right price for a player. And who determines when you've paid too much for a player? Does anybody think right now that paying what we did, 65 million quid for Brian Mbeumo, is too much? Because I remember when we bought him, arguing with people about the price that was paid. Oh, we've negotiated for 2 months here, and all we've done is pay Brentford what they wanted in the end. And I said, I remember saying it at the time, I don't think we have. There's only one winner, because United have got an absolute baller. That's it. Matthias Cunha. Is he worth 60-odd million quid? Well, yeah, he is. Is Benjamin Sesko worth his? Jury's still out at the moment. Is Senna Lamens worth his 20 million? Yes, he is at the moment. He's made a massive difference for Manchester United. So it all depends on what happens on the pitch. And that's where you've got to get your recruitment absolutely spot on. You will have to pay more for this player, but he's going to bring you XYZ rather than XYZ more than this player who's going to cost you 20, 30 million less. So the comment's right. It is. The recruitment has to be bang on. And if you are going to bring a player in from abroad, then that player has to be absolutely bang on the money. And he has to have the right characteristics and mentality. Skill and quality is there for everybody to see in every single player. Everyone who is in one of the top leagues in European, South American, or any other league around the world, they've all got the quality. It's all about that great determination, the characteristics, the mentality of them players. And can you handle being a top player? That's the difference. And that's where recruitment and scouting needs to go on to another level. And I think we have done it. I think the mentality of Sesko, Lamens, all we've heard is Lamens staying behind, extra training sessions. Sesko, first one through, last one out, doing more, really hard on himself, wants more and more all the time. These are the types of players. And when you've got winners like Mbeumo and Cunha mixed in with that, it then starts to get infectious. Then you start to get more out of a Bruno and Ahmad, the other good players at Manchester United, that can then feed off that energy as well. And all you've heard is Bruno in that interview that he did the other day, and other people as well from Manchester United talk about the recruitment and what players have been brought in and how different it is. And that, I think, is down to Manchester United getting to grips with what's necessary in the transfer market and the recruitment side of things. Ultimately, I trust Ineos to recruit properly, says Ant. I think that's been proven so far. Let's get some more comments in. Watching Shaw stepping into midfield was very good. He's a brilliant footballer. Why would you want to sell him in this form? I don't know, someone might be talking to someone else. I don't think I've even mentioned Luke Shaw. The issue with Bruno is that he'd still want to go away with the Prem title or Champions League. I don't. After what was said in that interview, I don't think Bruno Fernandes is leaving Manchester United. I really don't. Wharton and Anderson is the dream pairing. One left-footed, one right-foot, but both good on weaker foot. Also, both can play both ends and see problems. Both get ideal temperament. Both young breed. Both young, born and bred up north. Okay, I feel I would spend 200 million on them too. I'd blow our whole transfer budget. If we only had 200 million to spend and you told me that was getting Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton in this summer, then I would say yes. I would. I just think that would transform Manchester United. I expect us to probably spend a bit more because we're going to sell players as well, obviously. But if you were saying to me that you were going to bring two players in and they were going to be Elliot Anderson and Adam Wharton, yeah, I would take that all day long. I would. Because I just said before, if you were really a proactive football club and you wanted to act like a proper big football club, you would be all over Jean-Philippe Mateta and Mark Gahey on free transfers also, alongside Adam Wharton and Elliot Anderson. And that would be my dream summer. It would. I know we still need wing-backs. I get it. But, wow, and you've got to admit, wow, that would definitely put Manchester United firmly, comfortably in that top four reckoning for next season before we even get started. And that's how I would feel anyway. Because that is beyond depth, leadership, qualities, captains all over the place. Honestly, to take 3 Crystal Palace players is a lot, though, to be honest. I mean, we are playing FIFA a little bit there with them transfers. They're not going to happen. I know they're not going to happen, but look, they're all there and they're all available. And Manchester United can afford all of them players. And there's nothing that Crystal Palace can do about Matt Gahey and Mateta anyway, because they're free agents. So you could look at that and say, yeah. But yeah, just to go back to the top of the show again and what we were talking about, Elliot Anderson is 100 million because I think Nottingham Forest, I firmly believe Nottingham Forest know that Manchester United are interested. And I don't care what anybody else says. That you could say that's just you being a United fan, Adam. Maybe. But I think it's because United are interested. I do. I think his head has been turned. And I do think that Manchester United are already doing the groundwork to making that deal happen in the summer. I think they would look at Anderson ahead of Baleba at the moment. I just don't think Baleba has done anything in this first quarter of the season. Let's see if he does change it up and come back into form in the second half of the season. And he can do. He can do. So I think that is all important now. And Manchester United will be keeping an eye on all of these players because none of them are coming in January. They're all players for the summer transfer window. So it's good to be in contact with all of them and prepare for what might happen come this summer. Anyway, that is us all wrapped up this morning, everybody. Let me just double check that I haven't missed any of the comments coming through as well. No, thank you so much for everyone who has super chatted as well this morning. All new subscribers, if you have newly subscribed today, thank you. Make sure you pop a like on the video. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. There's still 30% of you watching right now that haven't hit that subscribe button yet. Please do, and make sure that you get your comments in below also. And mods, again, as always, thank you so much. Absolutely brilliant show this morning, everybody. My voice is getting better. It sounds a lot worse than what it actually is. I think another bit of a rest throughout the day and I should be good anyway. But there is always Forest this weekend to ruin it again. I'm sure it will do. But don't forget the watch along is coming this weekend for that Forest game. But for now, this morning, I will see you all later on. Have a great day. I'll keep you up to date if anything does come out and break throughout the day as always.